Well, folks, the movie Snow White with Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot has been mired in so much controversy that you'd think there wouldn't be any more, or at least any more details concerning it. However, that would not be the case. It seems that there is even more information coming about from behind the scenes about some of the controversies that have happened. From insiders, no less. People from the inside of Disney, as claimed by Variety here, and they got some stuff to basically let people know about just how much carnage Rachel Zegler has wrought throughout the entirety of trying to get this film out from the shadow of all of the controversy. Now, before we get into this article, if you want to support the channel, make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, share, all that jazz. That's the best way to keep the channel noticed by the algorithm. I've been putting out content as much as I can covering the Rachel Zegler stuff. And so, yeah, we are going to get into this. And that's the best way to do it, folks. You want the channel to succeed, or if you want to see more content, like, comment, subscribe, and share. Because I ain't in it for the money. I'm in it to inform you all about Hollywood stuff. And right now, Rachel Zegler is the hottest topic. So let's get into this, shall we? Disney's Snow White fiasco, inside of it, death threats, beefed up security, and social media guru for Rachel Zegler. Holy crap. So, August 12th, 3 days after Rachel Zegler hit the stage at D23 fan event to introduce the first official trailer of Snow White, she thanked supporters effusively in an X post for driving the teaser to 120 million views in 24 hours. 1 minute later, she added an afterthought in the same thread, and always remember, Free Palestine. This was one of the major things that got even more backlash and controversy in the film. People to boycott the film and whatnot. That addendum, which amassed 8.8 million views, nearly 4 times the number for the initial post, quickly made the rounds, with many inside the studio expressing shock that the Snow White star would commingle the promotion for its 270 million tentpole with any kind of political statement. They were shocked at this, folks. A Disney executive raised studio's concerns with Zegler's team, while the film's producer, Mark Platt, flew to New York to speak directly with her, but the actress, whose relationship with the studio began to unravel in 2022 during a contentious West Side Story award season campaign, and continued as she trashed the beloved original Snow White, stood her ground, and the post remained. And yes, it is still up to this day, as of recording, which is March 25th, 2025. So, behind the scenes, death threats towards Zegler's co-star, Gal Gadot, who is Israeli, spiked as a result of this. And Disney had to pay for additional security for the mother of 4. She didn't understand the repercussions of her actions as far as what that meant for the film, for Gal, for anyone, says one insider. Oh, I'm willing to bet she had some inkling that her words would have impact, folks. She just didn't like the impact that it created. Or she just didn't know the specific impact it would create. 3 months later, following the presidential election, Zegler posted, I'm quoting here, "Fuck Donald Trump," and "May Trump supporters never know peace" on Instagram. Disney had had enough, given that the star was signaling to half the potential audience of an already troubled film plagued by costly reshoots to stay home. Platt made the case again to Zegler. After a back and forth, she began working with a social media guru paid for by Disney to vet any posts made before the film's March 21 bow. Disney declined comment. Zegler did not respond to a request for comment. Now that the film's dismal opening weekend, $87 million worldwide, is in the rearview mirror, Burbank brass are evaluating what went wrong. To put Snow White's global box office haul into perspective, It's about $34 million less than Warner Brothers' Joker Folie à Deux in October, which was a bigger budget by $70 million. You can't say that a live-action remake of the most iconic film in the vault that cost $270 million and has been reshot multiple times, opening to $50 million, is okay. The math doesn't work. The movie should be a billion-dollar movie, said an executive at a rival studio when the film was tracking for a 45 to 55 million domestic opening. It ended up below even the lower end figures at $43 million. The Disney-Zegler standoffs underscore the challenge Hollywood studios face as they attempt to rein in stars who court controversy on social media. For her part, Gadot kept her comments on geopolitics limited to offering support for the civilian hostages taken during October 7th. Hamas attack did not mix that message with the promotion of the film. Zegler had already strained the nerves at both the studio and Steven Spielberg's Amblin partners when she complained on social media that she wasn't invited to the 2022 Oscars as the stars of the Best Picture nominee, West Side Story, a film distributed by Disney. Sources say she had just begun production on Snow White in London, and Sean Bailey, then president of Walt Disney Studios Motion Picture Production, declined to cut her loose for the telecast. After Zegler aired her grievances publicly, the Academy provided her with a ticket even though she wasn't nominated. Bailey was gone from the job by February 2024. Months later, D23, she criticized the original Snow White with the literally stocks comment, and the top agent says that was the moment that Disney allowed Zegler to control the narrative. The first time she shoots her mouth off, you nip it in the bud. Instead, the studio said nothing, and purists began to revolt. And as time went on, Disney became increasingly loath to weigh in on anyone's speech, considering that the studio was sued in 2024 by actress Gina Carano, who claims she was fired from The Mandalorian for voicing her opinions on hot button issues. They say all the press is good press, but in Snow White's case, they were unabashedly wrong. Says box office analyst Jeff Bach of Exhibitor Relations. Too much negative controversy surrounded this film for years, and it didn't help that reviews were subpar, likely rendering this latest live-action adventure to D+ for many potential ticket buyers. A potential saving grace, a feeble marketplace where Snow White could stay a while, as many family films have, despite the lackluster debut. Many other additional factors contributed to the film's woes, including the COVID-related production delay and a fire on set. I mean, that sort of stuff could have been a message from God for all we know, to be like, yeah, let's not make this movie. While actors' strike scuttled some reshoots, meanwhile, Disney's live-action movies were once reliable box office draws, have looked shakier in recent years, with the likes of Dumbo and Maleficent, Mistress of Evil bombing, and Peter, Pan, and Wendy getting shipped to Disney+. Still, there was no bad blood between the two Snow White leads, despite press reports to the contrary. Sources say body language speaks volumes, folks. There was already stuff I did which explained the body language between the two actors, which also showed the photos that these two were not happy with each other. That bit at the Oscars, also, body language experts were very clear, these two hate each other. Zegler referred to Gadot as a professional pageant queen, or a case in point, and in one Instagram reply that followed their joint appearance at Presenters of the Oscar this month, considered a dismissive way to describe a fellow actress. Some observers say Disney fueled the perception of a feud by scheduling the actresses for separate events during junketing. At the March 15 premiere, which eschewed traditional red carpet interviews and opted for photos only, The two stars were mostly kept apart. Inside El Capitan Theater in Los Angeles, Zegler sat 2 rows ahead of Gadot and her family. By that point, Disney had given up hope that this film could overcome the backlash that had been brewing like a fairy tale cauldron for years. So with that said, folks, that is all the carnage that had been reported from insiders behind the scenes that is just coming out. I mean, this article is today old, March 25th, as of 10 a.m. Oh, that's Pacific time. So, yeah, that's about an hour old, that article. So, yeah, Rachel Zegler has been a wrecking ball for this movie. She wouldn't shut up. She basically told the people who went to talk to her about the problem she was creating, she basically told them to fuck right off. Paraphrasing, obviously. She didn't care. She didn't care. But then again, what do you expect from a self-admitted narcissist? This woman was on a freaking interview, I think a late night interview, where she's like, I'm a narcissist. Yeah, she's a self-admitted narcissist. Somebody who is saying if I have to stand for 10 hours in a Disney dress of a Disney princess, I should be paid for every hour it is streamed online. Yeah, I remember that quote too, folks. I mean, Rachel Zegler is literally the poison apple of her own career. She is a wrecking ball for any franchise she joins. You give her a role in Star Wars, forget it. You might as well get the freaking headstone put up now for Star Wars because, well, Star Wars has been dead since 2008 anyway, in my opinion. But yeah, you want to kill Star Wars, put somebody like Brie Larson or Rachel Zegler or both of them in there, yeah, nobody will watch Star Wars after that. Well, obviously the Brie bots and the Zeg bots will. But Rachel Zegler is just a huge, what's the opposite of draw? Repellent. She is a huge repellent for movies. Y2K, the movie that nobody heard of, bombed, mainly not just because nobody heard of it, but those who had heard of it heard Rachel Zegler was in it, and they're like, nope, we're not going to watch that. This is how bad things have gone, folks, for Hollywood. When you have, or people are now starting to pay attention, and when you have actors and actresses running their mouths and saying, fuck you to half the country, and may you never know peace, and then given a copy and paste apology, yeah. You know it was a copy and paste, which they actually didn't mention in here. But yeah, folks, you know she didn't mean the apology. So yeah, this is what happens. People are paying attention, and now they're seeing the repercussions. Snow White will bomb at the box office, losing anywhere between 250 to 350 million. I was hoping it would lose a lot more due to the fact that it needs to lose as much as possible for Disney to really get the point that Rachel Zegler is a poison apple for anything they want her involved in. Rachel Zegler thought she was a giant simply because Steven Spielberg picked her for West Side Story, a movie that also bombed in the box office. She needs to understand there is really nothing for her in Hollywood left. Go to Broadway. Go to Broadway. You can lend your vocal talents there. But you are way too narcissistic for even Hollywood. You are way too carnage-fueled for Hollywood, Rachel. And now this is the results of it. That's going to be the video, folks. You all know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all that jazz. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. What do you think? Do you think I have a point, or do you think that I'm wrong and that I'm just a bigot? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below, folks. This has been Orange Hat. You all have a wonderful day. And always remember to stay humble. Peace.